Public services are activities performed by government for the benefit of the public. These services are normally available to people within a specified governmental jurisdiction and can include services such as education, water, electricity, social welfare, housing, healthcare, safety and security, as well as public transport. In this video, we explore what public service is and why is it necessary, as well as the factors to be taken into account in the provision of public service. Welcome back to Public Administration 101, proudly brought to you by Kano Consultants. For professional advice you can trust. As indicated in this video, we discuss public service by first defining what public service is. We will then provide some examples of public services. We will then discuss who provides public services, as well as who is entitled to receive these public services. We will then list and discuss the 5 factors necessary in the provision of public services, and then conclude by explaining why provision of public services is necessary and important. Now, let's get into today's video. As an introduction, let's start by defining what we mean by public service. The technical definition of public service is a service provided by the government to the public in a specific jurisdiction. Services may be provided by the government itself, or the government may pay or subsidize a private organization, including non-profit organizations, to provide such services. Public services are activities performed by government for the benefit of the public. These services are normally available to people within a specified government jurisdiction and can include services such as education, water, electricity, social welfare, housing, healthcare, safety and security, as well as public transport. Basically, a public service is any service that is intended to address specific needs pertaining to the general public or a specific group members within the public. Public services can be divided into the following categories: protection services, economic services and services that create and promote wealth, welfare and social work services, cultural and educational services, as well as environmental conservation services. The following are common examples of public services: education, such as public education from preschool level up to and including post-school level. Justice-related services, such as prosecutors, courts, and correctional facilities. Safety and security, which extends to the provisions of policing, the army, and the intelligence organization. Emergency services, such as firefighters and paramedics. Healthcare, such as hospitals, and access to medication. Public health, which includes regulating health-related services, such as the approval and quality control of medication. Other examples of public services includes economic development. This includes the promotion of economic activities such as trade, innovation, and skills development. For example, promoting tourism to a region. Public infrastructure such as telecom networks. These may be operated by the private sector, but regulated through public service. Urban planning. This involves regulating the development of land and design of cities. Immigration and customs, which includes controlling the flow of people and goods across the country's borders. Global affairs. This involves representing the state within other states. For example, negotiating trade agreements. Public safety-related services such as Transportation Safety Agency. Transportation, such as roads and trains. This also includes regulation of private sector transportation such as airlines. Competition and consumer protection. This involves the enforcement of regulations that ensure commerce is fair and that products are safe. Postal system. which involves the provision of basic mail and parcel delivery services that ensure service to remote communities. Other examples of public services includes utilities such as electricity and water, which are viewed as public services that may be provided by the private sector, but heavily regulated. It is also common for countries to directly own and manage utilities, particularly water services. Social services. This includes the provision of services that support the community in areas such as job training, knowledge, food, housing, safety and well-being. For example, unemployment insurance or child protective services. Recreation facilities such as public parks and pools. The promotion of arts and culture, as well as the preservation of culture. For example, protection for historical sites, and funding for museums and cultural events. Public broadcasting. This involves the production of entertainment, media and news by the government. This is often carefully separated from the political apparatus of the state, to prevent it from becoming a tool of propaganda. Last but not least, other examples of public services includes natural resources and the governance of natural resources, such as forests and fisheries. Agriculture-related services, such as the regulation of food quality, food security, and support for the agriculture industry. This may also seek to reduce the environmental damage caused by agriculture and provide support for rural communities. Environmental protection, which involves preventing and regulating the destruction of the ecosystems upon which all life depends. So, who provides these public services? Public services are normally provided by government officials, employed by government institutions, at different spheres of government. As indicated previously, some public services may be provided by private organizations, including non-profit organizations, whether voluntary or being paid by the government, or even being subsidized by the government. Who then is entitled to receive these public services? A public service is a service which is provided by the government to its people, living within its jurisdiction, either directly, through the public sector, or by financing the private sector to provide such services. Some governments may provide legislation which identifies specific groups within the public to receive certain services. Generally speaking, all members of the public are normally entitled to public services offered by the government. In the next section, we discuss the various factors which needs to be considered in the provision of public service. But before we get into that, if you are new here, welcome to our YouTube channel. This is where we aim to clarify and simplify some of the aspects of public administration. And if you are interested in getting exclusive early access to our videos, please consider joining our community membership by clicking on the join icon below this video. We will also give you a special shout-out in our future video, along with these benefits, including having early access to our videos, as well as suggesting topics of public administration to be covered by us under our channel. So, join now and become part of our exclusive membership community. Now, let's get back to today's video. The management of public services involves a variety of factors which must be taken into consideration to ensure the successful provision of such services. The following are 5 factors which needs to be considered. Firstly, it's the political leadership. This refers to the direction taken in providing the service. Then, it's the management of public services. This includes concepts such as decision makers, plans of action, and programs, which are some of the tools used by management and the workforce in providing these services. These includes laws, mission statements, as well as policies. The other factor that needs to be considered is funding. This is because, without adequate funding, even the most deserving public service will falter. The other factor that needs to be considered is a well-skilled and adequately qualified personnel. Similarly, without a workforce of well-skilled and adequately qualified public administrators, it may be challenging to provide proper public services. The last factor that needs to be considered in providing public services is facilities to be used for delivering public services. In this case, this includes not only buildings, such as hospitals, schools, or government offices, but also all the equipment and resources that may be necessary to provide such a public service. The importance of public services cannot be overstated. Therefore, in conclusion, we look at why the offering of public service is necessary and important. Governments have the economic and legislative power to save and improve people's lives and socio-circumstances. Public services can also save lives of members of the community, especially when services such as policing, firefighting, as well as medical assistance, are provided to the general public at a reasonable cost or provided for free by the public sector. Public services can also improve the circumstances of a person through services such as education. Public service can also influence the future direction of a country and may have an impact on the international arena. Public services are often riddled with challenges, and governments may want to look at resolving such services. This is because the need for public services is important in contributing to people's quality of life. We've come to the end of this video on public service. So, thank you for watching. Please take time to check out our other videos on public administration and public finance under this channel, where we discuss various topics relating to public administration, as well as public management and the management of the public sector, including the running of government. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. And remember to turn on the notification button on your phone to make sure that you don't miss out when we post new videos. You can also connect with us by following us on social media at ConsultKano, and continue the conversation by leaving us a comment or tagging us on social media using the hashtag ConsultKano. Thank you again for watching. Join us again next time for another video. Until then, check out these other videos. Kano Consultants. For professional advice you can trust.